Please note that all records in this demonstration are test scenarios that were created specifically for this training. The names in the training are not real people, and none of the data is real. So I need to switch over to our site here. Give me just a few minutes. And I know this will look familiar to you. So today I'm going to be demonstrating how to report your district's defined contributions. Put this over here. So first, let's take a look at the different areas of the Gemini reporting dashboard. The blue bar at the top, so this bar at the very top, does indicate different categories that you can click from for additional options, such as reporting, the services menu, and employer identification for information. You'll also notice that there are quick links down at the bottom underneath the TRS buildings picture. That includes a fast track to several items you will likely frequently use. Below those quick links are important bulletins such as the one about the TRS SSP trainings right here at the top. To the right of the bulletins, you'll find the payroll reporting box, which is over here. That has a couple of quick access links as well, which includes the new payroll report with a little blue plus sign, plus your reporting history. Now let's take a look at how you can locate your district's TRS SSP deferrals report. There are two ways. First, you can click on the TRS reports quick link, which is right here, the little blue triangle next to it. You can click that. And then using the drop-down box, you may select the TRS SSP deferrals report. Click search. And there's no need to enter any dates or anything in the date range box because the most recent report will always appear at the very top of our list. So for my district, you'll notice that there is only one report. So I'm going to click on the little blue cloud that has a down arrow. And on a side note, as mentioned before, that little blue cloud means download. Okay, so once you click the download icon, your report will appear. At that time, you can either view it on your computer, you can save it down to your computer, or you can use the little save button or the print icons in the upper right-hand corner to do those things. You may also save it or print it. I also want to mention that you may access that report by using the blue bar menu at the top of the screen like we mentioned. Under the services menu, you can also click TRS reports and SSP deferrals, which will take you to the exact same location that we were just at to get that report. And you'll see that the report is there with the little blue download icon. So we're going to go back to our screen, which I like to call home base. So to do that, you just click on the TRS Illinois icon or logo. So click that, it will take us back to home base, which is the reporting dashboard. So I'd like to mention that there are two methods of reporting. The first one is called replication, and the second one is called file upload. The first method I want to demonstrate for you today is called replication. To go back to what I would like to call home base, which is an easy way to get to what you're looking at, you go back and then you can start a new report there. There's a couple different ways to start this. The one I would like to show you today is the quick access link for the new payroll report. So we're going to go over to the right under payroll reporting, and we're going to click new payroll report that has the little blue plus sign. Then we will go down in the box that says define contributions, and we will click the little blue box that says proceed to replication. Now we are in the payroll schedule area, and we're going to click the appropriate fiscal year. So for us, this would be 23-24. And we will click proceed. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to select the appropriate pay periods. So the pay periods with the little blue plus sign, like this one, are available for reporting. If the plus sign happens to be grayed out, you will not be able to report for that time period because it's probably either too early or that pay period has already been reported on or something like that. Those pay periods that have little blue eyes here are ones that you have already reported on, and you can simply just view those pay periods. So today we're going to work with one that has a little blue plus sign so we can show you how to report. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the first pay period that we would like to report on, which is going to be the 9/9 to 9/22 pay period with a pay date of 9/15 of 23. So we're going to go ahead and click that box. And so we're going to verify that this information is correct, and we're going to click proceed. So this report is going to begin replicating or moving the data from the last time you reported to this one. So it's actually copying that data. You'll notice that it seems to stall out a little bit at the 90% mark, but that's expected. So that last 10% is going to take a few more minutes than the rest of the report because that is where the actual editing process is taking place. So we'll wait and let the system do its magic here. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so replication completed. We got our little green checkbox. And so you'll see that there are the replication results summary page indicates that how many number of records I had, what it verifies my pay period that I'm using. It shows me how many errors I had, and if I had errors, I can view the SSP error report. It shows me the number of replicated defined contribution members, so I have 3 in this one. The number of replicated member voluntary DC contributions and the employer contribution. So that's just kind of a summary page. And so I will click the proceed button. Okay, so after you've compared all your data that's in this report with your TRS SSP deferrals report, and then compared all of that with your district's payroll deductions, you can go ahead and click the proceed to totals button. So we're going to go ahead and push the submit details button. So I'm going to pretend for a moment that I have looked over all of this information and it is true and accurate and everything's correct on payroll. So I'm going to go ahead and click the submit details. And here is another summary page that's going to show me the amount of compensation, the amount of contributions, employee contributions, employer contributions, and assuming all of this is correct and verified, I'm going to click save and proceed to payment. Okay, so what I need to do now is, now that all that information is verified, I'm going to actually click in this amount box, in the first amount box, and it says I owe $97 for the member contributions total. So I'm going to put $97 in there. And the the employer contributions is actually $120 for this example. So I'm going to click that in there, type that in there. I don't want to change my authorization date because I do want my $217 to go over to Voya today. Here in Springfield, it is 11 o'clock in the morning, so I do want that money to go today. And since it is before 2 o'clock, that money actually will go tonight. So if it was past 2 o'clock, it would be sent over to Voice Bank the next business day. So since this is all right with me, everything looks true and accurate, I'm going to click the process payment button. And now I get a confirmation of payment. And that looks great. So I'm going to click confirm. And I should be getting a confirmation screen here shortly. Okay, so now I have my confirmation screen. and it shows me, it gives me my confirmation number, it verifies my employer name and my TRS code, the date of my report, the current status that it's in. So I did submit payment, and once that payment is sent over to Voya, that will switch to posted, and then it gives me my status date and the time that I did all of these things, what type of report, defined contribution or defined benefit. I'm doing defined contribution right now, so that's why I have that. And then it also gives me my summary ID and the number of members on my record. So what I can do now is I can either take a screenshot of that information, or I can print it using the little three dots up here, or I can take a screenshot and put it into a Word document and save that down. That is totally up to you, but I would suggest keeping a copy of this for easy access. So since that is all complete, I'm going to go ahead and click Return to Dashboard to get us back to home base. Okay, so what I'm going to do for just a minute, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. And I'm going to flip my district over to File Upload so I can demonstrate that method as well. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, very good. So you'll notice that everything looks the same. So I just want to mention also that if your district ever decides to switch from one method of reporting to the next, or from file upload to replication or vice versa, just send us a quick email and let us know that, or give us a call, and then we can get that switched over. As you can see, it just takes a few clicks on our end to get that switched over on your end. So it's really not a big deal. It's just all up to your personal preference. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, just like what we did with the replication method, for this method, we're also going to use the quick access. So we're going to go to New Payroll Report. And on this one, we're going to need to click the Select a File in the browse. It looks a little different. So we're going to select our file here, and it's going to take us directly to where I store my payroll files. So I'm going to select a payroll file and click Open. Okay, now I'm going to upload that document, or that record, that file. Okay, so this looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? So it looks exactly the same as the replication method. So we're going to let it work its magic. Okay, very good. So after this process completes, it's going to take us over to the upload results area. Which, if you've ever done this with your defined benefits, you'll notice that it does look awfully familiar, doesn't it? Okay, so here's our upload results. So we're going to use that little blue down arrow in the actions column, and we're going to click that, and we're going to click the details. Okay, and here's our report. So you'll notice that I do have several warnings on this. We're not going to go through all of them. I've been trying to upload and do reporting on my test site quite a bit here lately. So these are a little different. So you normally, hopefully you wouldn't see a whole lot of these, but I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to resolve those warnings, just not on this particular file. So I did want to show you that real quick, that is literally how easy. And then the rest of it is exactly the same as the replication method. So we're going to go back to home base now by clicking the TRS logo. Okay, so, and I also want to point out that since I left my report unfinished, I stopped literally in the middle of it. You'll notice that it is showing down here in under my report type. Before I only had 2 records there, now I have 3. So if I wanted to go back in and continue to work on that report, I would simply need to click on that link and it would take me right back to that area. So now I want to talk about some of the most frequent errors that we may see when we're reporting. So I'm going to open up a report where I've intentionally triggered several different errors. So I'm going to click on, I believe it's this one. Bear with me here. Yep. Okay, so you'll see that I have 3 people in my report, and all 3 of them have an indicator under the orangish yellowish triangle with an exclamation point, and that is indicative that I have a error or a warning on those particular records. So the first one I want to point out to you is next to Stephanie Chandler. So Stephanie has a red box to the left of her name with a little number 1 in it, and that means that she has 1 fatal error associated with her record in my report. So whenever someone has a fatal error and it shows up as red, that means that that has to be resolved or you will not be able to continue with your reporting. So if you click on the little red box, you'll notice that it says ER 4031. So 4031 is an SSP record for a non-enrollee. So this means that I have attempted to add someone to my report who is not even enrolled in this plan. So for this instance, Stephanie is brand new to my district and I haven't reported her defined benefits yet. So to resolve that error, I'm going to have to delete Stephanie from my report because I cannot report her because she is not enrolled. She did not show up on my TRS SSP deferrals report. So to do that, I'm going to use the little blue drop down under Actions, and I'm going to click Delete. And it's going to ask me to confirm that I do indeed want to delete that record, and I will say yes. And you'll notice that she has now disappeared from my report. So since I took that deduction from Stephanie's paycheck, and I really should not have, what I'm going to have to do is go and I'm going to have to refund that deferral to her on my next pay period. So, and I'm not going to deduct any more SSP contributions from her pay unless she actually appears on my TRS SSP deferrals report. So the next error I would like to review with you is we're going to skip Elmer here. We're going to go down to Michael Jordan. He has a little yellow box with a number 1 in it, and that means that he has a warning associated with his record, and there's 1 warning. So if there were more than 1, there would be the appropriate number of warnings in that box. So he only has 1. So I'm going to click on that box and it's going to tell me what kind of warning he has. So he has a ER 5055, which is an SSP contributions mismatch. So if you'll notice, I'd like to point out under error message, it does indicate that what the message actually is for that error number and how you can resolve it. So for ER 5055, the reported SSP contributions do not match the member's elected SSP deferrals amount for the reported contribution category. And the only way to resolve that, you can either certify it or make the corrections if it's a mistake. So the amount that's being reported should always match what was taken on payroll. So for more information about that, you can go back and refer to our previous trainings. But in this situation, what happened is I accidentally missed taking Michael's deferral on my last pay period. So what I did is I emailed him and I asked him if he would be okay with me doubling up the next contribution or if he just wanted to waive that missed contribution, and he was interested in making up that missed contribution. So what I did is I doubled this one. So he had signed up for a $225 deferral and I missed one. So we're doubling it, which is making it $450 at this time. So whenever you do reach out to your employees about things like this, I would definitely do it through an email or in writing, because that will absolutely provide you with some backup written documentation in case you ever get audited for any reason. So that is kind of a safety mechanism that I always like to use when I did payroll. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Michael's record. We're going to do edit details. And you'll notice that ER 5055 is still appearing at the top. And we want to certify that. So because we do know it was the amount of money taken on payroll. So under error resolution, you'll notice that it says view more. We'll click on that. And then it gives us the choice to certify that record. So we will certify, and that box will disappear. And then we will now go all the way down to the bottom and make sure we click save. Okay, so you'll notice that Michael's warning has now disappeared. So we have one more that I would like to go over, and that is for Mr. Elmer Fudd here. He has a fatal message or fatal error showing up on his record. So if we click that, it says that error is called ER4059, which is an SSP contribution category mismatch. Okay, so what has happened is that Elmer's contribution category does not match what I am reporting. Okay, so according to my TRS SSP deferrals report here, Mr. Fudd elected to have his contributions deducted and invested in the SSP pre-tax category. But if you notice that in my report here, all the way to the right under contribution category, I'm actually trying to report him as an 06 SSP Roth, which is not what he signed up for. So that is why I'm getting this error message. So I went back and I actually did a little bit of research on him, and I went back and checked on my payroll, and it looks like I did indeed take the contribution category incorrectly. So the deduction should have been a pre-tax contribution, and I accidentally deducted it as a Roth or a post-tax contribution. So it's going to be my responsibility to make those corrections to his taxes on my pay period in the future, on a pay period in the future. I'm going to report that contribution the way it was intended. So I know it's not the way it was taken on payroll, but in this circumstance, like I said, I'm going to have to make that correction on my pay period, on the next pay period with his taxes, since it's post-tax versus pre-tax. And then I'm going to correct it in my report, and I'm going to change Roth to pre-tax. So this time I would like to show you a super easy way to do this. So under the actions column, you'll notice that little blue arrow also gives you the option to do a quick edit. So before we've been doing edit details, which opens the entire record, but for this, we're just going to use the quick edit option. Okay, so you'll notice that I have a save button here. I cannot click on it for any reason because I haven't made any changes yet. There's a little blue X with a circle around it. That means if I accidentally clicked on this and I need to get out of it, you can click on that and it'll take you right back out of it. But you'll notice that my cells have kind of lit up. So the ones that I'm allowed to edit have lit up. So in the contribution category column, I'm going to go over and click the down arrow, and I'm going to switch that to pre-tax because that's what he actually wanted that money to go over to Voya as, is a pre-tax contribution. So I'm going to go ahead and click the save button. Okay, and you'll notice that that fatal error has now disappeared. Okay, and so it's cleared out. And then I also want to mention that if I, like I said, if I accidentally went in, sometimes I get click happy and I didn't mean to do that. You just click that X right there and it takes you right back out of it. Okay, and so once all my errors are removed, I can go through that reporting process, just like I showed you earlier. Okay, so we're going to go back to home base. Okay, so I want to show you a few quick tips that I've learned through this process. So you'll find these in the presentation materials that are posted on our TRS SSP employer website, which is a great resource. But let's go ahead and get started on this. So in the payroll reporting box, you'll notice that there's a link to reporting history. So let's click on that. And you'll notice that there are several different records noted in my history. So you'll want to ignore the fact that they're all voided or edit rejected or load rejected or anything like that, because I've been doing a lot of playing around in the system just in preparation to show you this training today. So I just wanted to show you that you do have the ability to view your reporting history on there. So let's go back to home base by clicking the TRS logo again. And I also want to show you how to copy a record. So this is a really handy tool that we have. So I went ahead and prepared a record to show you how to copy. So I'm going to open up the 12/8 Remember I said if you left a report partially finished, that will show up in your payroll reporting box. So I'm going to open up the 12/8 report that I've started. Okay, so you'll see that I only have one record in that report. So what has happened is that I accidentally forgot to add Jessica to my report when I reported the 11/18 to 12/1 pay period. That was actually paid back on November 24th. So now I'm going to add that transaction to my current report that I'm working with. I did take the deferral on pay period because I went back and checked. So it is okay to add multiple pay periods to my report. So the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and copy the records. So what we're going to do is under the actions column, we're going to click the blue down arrow and we're going to select copy. So all of the information that's actually in the record has been copied over into this new record. So I'm going to have to make a few changes. So one of the things that I need to change is the pay period. So first of all, I'm going to change my pay period from what it was to the new pay period that I'm reporting on, which is 11/18/2023 through 12/1 of 2023. And then my pay date, remember, was 11/24 of 2023. Okay, so I'm going to go over and I'm going to double check that my contribution category is correct, and it absolutely is. And then I'm going to click in my compensation amount, which for Jessica was 3210, was how much her compensation was for that pay period. I'm going to enter her contribution amount was $42, which was what I took on payroll and what she elected on this at the same time. Okay. And then we're going to click over to the employer defined contributions. She didn't have any of those, so I'm going to put a 0 in that box. Fiscal year is correct, and everything else looks great. So we're going to go ahead and push the save button. Okay, and you'll notice that Jessica is now in there twice for 2 different pay periods. So the pay period that I forgot to report her on is in here, as well as the pay period that I'm currently working on is also in there. So what I would do next is just go through the submit details and go through the process like we talked about earlier in the training. Okay, so I'm going to go back to home base because I would like to show you another quick tip. So if you have a large district with a lot of contributions that you are reporting and you would like to look at one specific person, you can actually search those records by name. So I'm going to go into this larger report here that we were working on earlier. And I'm going to go down. Let's move this over here. I'm going to select all because I like to see all the records in front of me at once. And we're going to look for Jessica. So Jessica Main is in this, and maybe she's way down my list, but I know that Jessica's in my report somewhere and I need to look for her. So I'm going to go click on the search by last name box, and I'm going to start typing her name. And you'll notice as I type her name, things come up. So I did M, the M's came up, A, and her name came up, Main. So if I just want to work on her record specifically, I can do that. And then obviously if you push X, it'll bring everyone back. Okay, so I'm going to go back to TRS homepage or the home base. So I'm going to click this icon again. Okay, there's another thing, one more thing I want to show you before we end the demonstration. And I want to show you how to pull out your or download your district's YTD or year-to-date report. The YTD report is a really easy way. It's a great way to determine which contributions or what contributions you have reported for each of your employees this year or in previous years. So the report does provide contributions, information, pay date information, and a ton of other data. So let's look at that. So to run that report, you will go in and you will select services, TRS reports, and of course, year-to-date report. So using this tool that pops up, you're going to change your report type to defined contributions. You're going to change your year type to calendar. And then you will collect or select, I'm going to select 2023 because that's the year I would like to look at for this year. Save, and then your report will pop up here in the corner here in a moment. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open that up. And it actually opened up in a different screen. So I'm going to drag that over so you can see it. And remember, all this data is not real. So, okay, so here's my report. You'll see that it's just got very general information at the beginning. It tells you your employee's name. If you expand these columns a little bit, you'll be able to see which pay period is in here, how frequently you pay that person, their status, their employment status, their job category and whatnot, their number of contract days, like all kinds of information is in here. And then if you go over for SSP purposes, if you go over and you look at their contributions here, and what I like to do is highlight that column and turn it into a dollar sign so I can kind of see like that actually is money. And that's how much money I've withheld out of their paychecks. So if you go all the way back to the right, you'll notice that all the employees' transactions are grouped together. So for Demetrius, for the most part, this is a test issue that I totally was playing around. So that's why that's in there. But for the most part, they're all grouped together. So like for Teresa here, you'll see all her transactions are there together. So if I want to go in and I want to add up how many contributions or anything that I have for her, that is a very useful tool. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so I'm going to go back to home base here. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen so we can get back to our presentation.